Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Rocket Sloth. I'm going to be going over Helium Vision today. So we're going to be taking a look at whether Helium Vision is worth the cost and is it going to help you place your miners and get the best out of the position, or is it just a shoot in the dark and you should just put them out there and see what happens anyways. So stick with me. We're going to go over a few numbers for the day, and then we are going to take a deep dive into one or two examples, and we are going to see how much Helium Vision can help. Now, full disclosure, I do have a membership through Helium Vision. I am not paid by them. This is not a sponsor. They have no idea who I am. I'm merely just a big fan of using the program. So spoiler alert. And I do want to try to share the knowledge with everybody out there so you know what kind of program you're getting. Now, before we get started, I just want to let y'all know I did get a new mic. So if it sounds good, give me a thumbs up. If it sounds bad, please thumbs down, leave a comment. Let me know too loud, too soft, too crackly, because although I have a good mic, I've still got crappy speakers, so I can't really tell what it sounds like until after I produce this video. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and jump into it. Like I said, I want to go over a few numbers first before we get started here. And you can find this at the Explorer page. Go to helium.com, and then you can go over to the Explorer button, and it's going to go over a few different numbers with you. It will currently give the updated price of the Helium coin. I think right now we're sitting at $17.20. And then if you scroll down, this has just always been some helpful numbers that I've been able to extrapolate from the program here, and it's always live. It's always updating itself just as quick as it can. So if you need to try to catch up on some, or you need to find out some quick numbers for anybody, make sure you visit the explorer.helium.com. So just a few of the numbers here is the hotspots. We total as of this recording, 5/29/2021, 12 in the afternoon Central Time. We currently have 46,143 hotspots online, and those are just going up pretty much a thousand a day, and I think it may even be higher than that now, maybe like 1,000 plus a day. So the people are starting to get their orders, and they're picking up quick. Now, we did notice a trend that on the weekends this number does tend to slow down, and I'm assuming that's because of mailing services aren't shipping on the weekends, so people aren't getting their miners. And then Monday is really slow. Tuesday starts picking up, but Friday and most of Saturday, it's usually at its fastest rate. So I always find that fascinating to see how fast that it's covering the globe. You also got live time blocks. You can see that we're on block number 863,000. And the consensus group, the biggest thing that most people really care about right now, we've had 22,000 consensus groups performed. And if you're curious about where they are as of right now and who's getting them, you can click on the view consensus, and it will show you who in the world is currently getting the consensus. And there is always 16 consensus individuals who are participating in it, so you can always click on one and figure out who it is. So let's go to this one in California here, and we can see what exactly they're doing for the day. Now you can see this elegant blonde goose is the name of the hotspot here. They aren't getting any witnesses currently, and we can go to their rewards and see what they're doing. Well, so far today they've made 1.14 H&T, and I'm assuming they probably just got on the consensus. And you can see for the month they have made 112 H&T. So I expect this, if we were to come back here in a few minutes, for that to be even higher, but we're not going to stick around that long. You can also go to the activity, and all this information is on explorer.helium.com. You can go on the activity, and we can see here that they just hit consensus as of 11:29, and it is 11:47 here my time. So we know that this consensus is going to help them grow faster and faster, and I'll probably come back to this one later and see what it looks like. So that's it for the consensus. Another little tool that y'all can play around with. You've obviously got the hotspot map, and anybody who's been on the Helium.com has seen the Explorer map here that you can interact with. So we'll go into that another day, but not today. They also have some of the election times, and this tells us how pretty much healthy the system is, depending on how fast we can get these down. So every 51 minutes, they will elect a new consensus group, and the block times are taking about 71 seconds to perform. The current price and the biggest thing that's coming is the countdown to reward halvening. The great halvening is going to happen on August 1st, and the supply of H&T coins will be slashed in half. For those of y'all who don't really know what that means, please go look up how Bitcoin performed and other coins have performed whenever a halvening has dropped on them. And this will happen every 2 years on August 1st, which is Helium's birthday. And then the last one, which is the one that I'm currently most interested in, is the data credits spent over the last 30 days. And we can see we have 23,917,607 data credits spent. And the data credits are what makes the system so unique. That's what the whole Helium network was built for, so that we can build the IoT devices and that customers or end users will purchase the H&T so they can get data credits or DC credits, so that way they can perform actions with their IoT devices or their LoRaWAN devices. So in the future, many years down the road, this right here is how the hotspots will get paid. So we want to, as a community, see this number get as big as possible, because the bigger it gets, the better off we are all going to be. So y'all, this is just a little page, and this falls on the last blocks if you want to track them. But this is one of the most interesting pages. I'm usually always on this one all the time. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys as starting out here. Now, as promised, we are going to jump over into the Helium Vision app, and I'll go ahead and get it pulled up here. Now, I've got some sample stuff pulled up that I've pulled over the past couple months that I've been running this, and so none of it's really in particular. It's just some people on the Discord have asked me to run a few things, and so I've been sure to do so. So let me go ahead and go over the basics with y'all here. This is Helium Vision, and you can see all the different red and green dots. For those of y'all who are new, the green dots means that they're online and synced and syncing. The red dots mean that excuse me, for whatever reason they are not participating in the Helium network. Whether that means that somebody's already asserted that address but do not have their miner yet, or that maybe they had their miner and the little kid unplugged it accidentally and now they're trying to figure out how to get it turned back on. Whatever the reason, the red ones are just not participating in the Helium network at the moment. So we can go to a certain city, and let's choose a crowded city. Let's go down to Florida somewhere, because that's pretty flat. I like flat areas. That's where the system works best. And let's just zoom into the city here, and I'm going to take off a bunch of my layers so they're not overwhelming everybody. And we've got basic stuff here. So just right off the bat, you can scroll with your mouse to zoom in and out. Over here on the side, you've got your select tab, and that allows you to select things, click on different options and different hotspots. You've got your region, and your region's going to be one where you draw a region around something, and it'll tell you how many hotspots are in it. Currently, the region I selected has 0 hotspots. If I was to extend that region to these here, you would see that it would bring up 4 hotspots. 3 of them are online, 1 of them are offline, and that's currently what we have here. Now, whenever you decide to track this region, you will be notified by the Helium network or the Helium Vision people that if any changes happens within this region. So if a new hotspot encroaches in on your area, you'll be notified through email. And if somebody removes one or turns it off or whatever the case may be, you will get notified of any changes within this region. So right off the bat, it's a pretty cool tool to have. So that way you don't have to be checking every day, like, oh, did somebody move in next door? Am I too close? Whatever. So that's the first one. It's a very basic tool. Select it, click track your region, and it will help you look after your area. All right, so moving along, the next one is going to be the ruler, and it's pretty self-explanatory. You take a ruler, you click on the spot you want to see and how far you're trying to reach, and you click it, and it'll go from start to finish, and you can see the current longitude latitude, you can see the start longitude latitude, and you can see the finish longitude latitude, and then the distance in between, which is 2.11 kilometers. And just so y'all know, for those of us who are in the US, if you are like me and you don't do very well in kilometers, you can change this to the United States system, because we're not very versed in the metric system. So you can change this to feet if you'd like, or miles, or whatever. But me, I've just kept it on this because it's pretty much the lingo for the network is the metric system. So I recommend doing it because it gets easy to understand it the more that you use it. But if you're not comfortable with that, it gives you the option to switch it. All right. So along with this this ruler scale here, you do get the option of line of sight. So if I say, okay, yes, from this guy to this guy, it is 354 meters. That is outside the 350 meters that they require. However, am I going to be able to see them from point A to point B, or is there going to be a big hill? Well, you can click on your line of sight here, and this thing right here will show you line of sight. You can see that you are at 1 foot above sea level, and they are at 2 feet above sea level, so you will get a clear line of sight. You just need to pick yours up just a scotch. So that's the line of sight tool. We'll do another one here that's a little further across. Let's go from this guy all the way across town and see what the line of sight looks like. So now we see that he is 2 meters above sea level, and this one is 1 meter above sea level, so you would need to raise up your antenna a little bit to be able to get over these little hilly marks in between. Otherwise, you may get blocked. Now that's just the topography of it. That's not counting for any buildings, trees, or anything like that. That's just merely just the landscape. So that is a very useful tool to have because it already gets your mindset right of how big of a tower or how big of a home you need to put it on. So that's it for the line of sight tool and the measuring tool. It's pretty basic. Placement tool is the little dot here. It says, okay, well, I want to place a hotspot right here on Northwest 37th Avenue and Northwest 7th Street. So we want to place one right there, smack dab in the middle. You use the placement key. It will place one. Go ahead and turn these layers off because we're not to that point yet. It will place one right here in the middle for you, and you can see a radius range that you want to look after. You can change your parameters over here. If you want to just look after a 100-meter radius, it will change that to 100. If you're 300, looks like it's the minimum. If you want to change it to a 3,000 radius, you can change it to 3,000. It will do a 3,000-meter radius tracking, and this is just like the region. It will track anything within this region. So if any of these hotspots move, go up, go down, you can see there's 15 hotspots currently, and you can actually pull on the hotspots and see which ones are there, and you can go through and sample them to see what their earnings are like, and you can kind of get a rough idea of what this area is doing. So that's always a useful one to have. If this was my home and I placed one there, I would track it so that way I know who's coming in my neighborhood and who's going, and you know if you really need to be paying attention to it or you just leave it alone. Now I do believe with the basic service that they only give you 2 tracking position placements, and they only give you 1 tracking for region. So if you want to track multiple regions and more than 2 placements, you will have to go up to the next tier level. But for the entry level, it is 2 placements you can track in 1 region. One more, whenever you do a placement, you can do a simulation. Now, the simulations are what people care about the most about whenever they're trying to mess with this, because it's kind of pretty much what you're paying for. Whenever you click the simulation, you get 2 options. You have area or point to multi-point. So area is where I started out because it was one of their first features, but they've recently added the point-to-point. The area simulation is going to give you a simulation of the topography of the area that you've chosen. So, you know, simulation radius, we did, I think they can do up to 30,000 as of the filming of this video. So you can do a 30,000 meter distance, and you can see what all the land looks like. And you can also do height above ground, how high you think your antenna is going to be. So if you think it's going to be 100 meters up above ground, put 100 meters. If you think you're only going to be standing it above your head, put, you know, 3-4 meters, something like that. 2 meters, I think it is. And so antenna gain, I usually do 4 because the racks are about 3.5 and the BOBCATs are 4, and some people like using 5.6. So I usually keep it at 4 because it's a happy medium. And then you get to pick what kind of area you're going to be in. So you can do light foliage, open area, like if you're out in the west side of Texas and there's nothing there. Dense forest, in case you're like up in Oregon. You just pick what kind of scenario that you're living in. Concrete jungle, New York, you know, whatever. It's got it all here for you. And then once you run it, each simulation is going to cost you 1 credit. And you can, the credits run you about 50 cents each. They do give you 10 credits to start out with whenever you sign up for the bottom package, which is, I believe, $5 a month at this filming. So after those 10 credits are used for the month, you will get a renewal of credits at the beginning of every month. So please make sure you use those. But if you do run out, they do allow you to purchase extra credits. Now, when you purchase extra credits, they are 50 cents a credit as of this filming. And if you do not use those credits, they do roll over. So let's say I'm out of credits this month. I purchased 10 more credits. I only use 2 of them, so I have 8 credits. Those 8 credits will roll over to the next month, and my original 10 credits will get renewed. So now I'll have 18 credits. Now, the next month, they will use the 10 credits that I get every month first before they dip into the ones that I bought. So if I only use 10 credits the following month, I still have 8 credits that'll flow on over. And they'll just keep rolling over until I use the original 10 plus dip into my bank that I bought. So if that's confusing, leave a comment below, and I'll try to explain it a little bit better. But I am trying to kind of rush. I'm trying to keep this video under 30 minutes, but we're going to see what we can do. So that's the simulation credits. The point-to-point. Just real quick recap. Area is sending like a sonar out across the land, and it's showing you like kind of what the topography looks like, and we'll have colors I'll show you in just a second. The point-to-point is going to be sending from your point or placement or hotspot to other hotspots. These are multi-points, so you can pick all the same things, what your frequency is, how high it is, the gain. You can either choose the closest hotspots, run the simulation against the closest hotspot, which is the one you have, or you can run it against the placement. So we are doing the closest online hotspots, and currently this is going to track 10 hotspots, which would cost me 2 credits. And you can go all the way up to 50 closest hotspots, which would cost you 10 credits. Excuse me. So if you were to run this simulation right now, we'll go ahead and take it down to 5, which is the smallest, cost you 1. It would run the simulation from here to this hotspot, from here to this hotspot, from here to this hotspot, and it will do it for the 5 closest hotspots, or whatever number you choose. Then this will kick back what is called an RSSI value, and it will be a scale off to the right hand side that'll correlate with that RSSI value, and it'll say the likelihood that you are based on the readings to reach that hotspot or for them to reach you. So if you have a too high of an RSSI reading or too low of an SSR reading and it falls out of the little category over here, then the chances of you reaching that hotspot is going to be less likely. Not impossible, but just less likely. So that's a quick rundown of that, quick shake. Let me show y'all a example of one that I have done, and we will do past simulations, and I will go to one that I've done in the desert or mountains, I believe. Don't quote me on it. Yes, this is in California. It's nice. You can kind of see I ran it up to 30,000. Yeah, I ran it up to 30,000 meters in radius, so that way I got as far as I could get. And you can kind of see just right off the bat, you can see that the RSSI values are right here. So and this is the one I was telling you about, the point-to-point value, that it's going to give you this little meter. It'll give you a likely witnessing range. So anything above -78, or this green color, anything above it is chances good I'm going to reach it. And anything below -126 RSSI, or barely turning blue, I should be able to reach as well. So we can kind of look at it and say anything in this area, maybe here, maybe not, and anything coming up the mountain I should be able to get. And same with here, anything, this may be too green, but anything moving out, too blue is no. You want that light blue. So it kind of gives you an area like, okay, well, I'd want to put things up on the mountain up here, and I'd want to put things just on the outer skirts and over here, but I wouldn't want to come over here to this area and put it, because obviously there's no signal in these areas. Maybe there's a big mountain, I don't know. So you can also zoom in to get a better look at what's going on. And if you right click and hold down, you can actually pull down and see somewhat of the topography of the landscape. So now we can see what it did. We pinged it from here. It kind of did a radar search, and it showed like, hey, here's a valley, here's some mountains. So if we were to follow our radio wave and go straight across, we could see if we put another hotspot over here, they would communicate pretty well, because this color indicates right about here on the RSSI meter, which shows that likely witness range is good. So that is kind of how you can read that one. And if you zoom in a little bit further, you can still see the details getting a little better and better. And so now we can see that the hill starts going uphill, which would explain why we don't get any coverage on this side. And we can see that there's this big hill here, which blocks a bunch of our signal, which is why we stop getting coverage here, and so on and so on. So that is what this is used for. And this does detect buildings whenever they do this. So if you were to run this in a big city, which I'll do in another video, it'll block it just like this. If there's a big building right here, you'd see a big empty spot because the building was blocking it, which is usually why you see a bunch of these things in the cities, because it'll be good to track the Lime scooters, because the last thing you want to do is turn the corner and stop tracking your IoT device. All right, so that was the area simulation whenever you ran it up here in Colorado. Now I want to real quick just run a simulation for a point to multi-point simulation. And I looked, I don't have any in my past history that I can show. I'm going to run another one real quick, and we can find a nice little area somewhere that's got some but not many, that kind of like not quite this many, something like this here. Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be good. So let's say you're coming into this area here, and you're like, all right, cool. Well, I would like to place one in this area, but I don't know what this town is. I don't know what it looks like. Is it hilly? Is it blah blah blah? So I would recommend two things. First, I would run the area one, and let's say we're gonna put it. Let's say we're going to put it right here in this, what is that, midway? Let's say we're going to put it right here in this midway area, and in this little open pasture thing here. And so I would run the area one to see, like, does it go uphill? Does it go downhill? Are we in a valley? Is it even plausible of reaching it? And then once you know what the topography looks like, then like, okay, well, if I stick a 100-meter tower up and stick an antenna on top of it, I'll be likely to reach it. Or I can do it from the top of my house or the window of my apartment. So after you do that, then you can come here to placement, place a placement. We're not being too picky. We're going to do a new simulation. We're going to call it point to multi-point. I'm in the US, height above the ground. Let's call it, let's say what, single story, 10 feet. So what, 3.5 meters? Y'all don't quote me on this. So let's just do, let's say we get it up on the roof, blah, blah, blah. Let's call it just a solid 10 meters, okay? Whatever that comes out to, we're just going to make it 10 meters. Let's say I'm using a BOBCAT, so I got 4 dBi. We're going to do closest online hotspots that we want to do, and I'm going to do the bare minimum 5. and see how that turns out for us. So actually, I'm going to change that placement. I want to put it right here somewhere. Yeah, that looks better. All right, so let's run it there. I'm going to run 5 of the closest ones. It'll cost me one credit. We'll go ahead and run it. Do you want to run one that's not saved? And I'm not tracking it. Yeah, sure, let's go ahead and run it anyways. It'll run its thing. It'll kick out some numbers. And you can see, oh, this is interesting. This is interesting. Okay, so you can see it gives us the value right here. And it looks like this guy may be offline, but it looks like we've got good reach to all these other hotspots. No, let me break that down for you a little better. It's not indicating that you can reach them. It's indicating the likelihood of you reaching them. So we can zoom in here, and you can see this one here is slightly green, right? So we can look at the scale, slightly green. We can get even more specific and say this one's negative 97 RSSI. And we can look on the chart, and negative 97 falls right in here somewhere. So likelihood of us reaching this one right down the block is very good. The likelihood of us reaching this one that's 2 towns away is very dark blue. I'm going to say probably not. We reach in, see a negative 167 RSSI. That's way off the chart. So I can pretty much guess, unless I get a huge antenna, or not a huge antenna, unless I get an antenna on a huge tower that gets up over everything, the chances of me picking up that one are probably slim. And the next closest one is negative 127, which gets us right about that maybe, likely, we probably would hit that one depending on buildings and trees and such. So and then these just get harder and harder to reach as you get out. So I would imagine if this one was online, we probably would have reached that one. But that's kind of how you run a point-to-point. Now, last thing I want to do, I'm not going to go into the hexagonal shapes on here, because that gets into a whole nother chapter, and I can show that to you guys, but I'm going to have to put that in another video because we're already going on 30 minutes. But what I do want to do real quick is click on some of these and show you how much they're making and how to check the witnesses real quick. So let's just go to San Antonio here. It's a crowded town, and I know there's big buildings, so it'll be good to do. And we'll go ahead and click on this one downtown here. I have no idea who they are. It'll bring up this little window over here. If it's yours, you can choose to track it, or if you just like it, you can choose to track it. And then you can read up some of the information. You can click on some of their wallets and see kind of what they have, how many hotspots they have. This gentleman owns 2, or Gentle Mango Deer owns 2. You can go to the Explorer and see more information on them. And they're at a 1 reward scale, longitude, latitude. If they set the height of their antenna, it's there. If they set the gain of it, it's there. Otherwise, these are defaults. You can click on recent witnesses. Oh, and this is a brand new one, so it doesn't even have any witnesses yet, or it's in their basement and they're poorly placed or whatever. And you can see how much they've made, and since there's nothing there, that means it's probably brand new, because otherwise it would have something. So let's see if we can find one here that actually has some value on it. All right, here's one that has some witnesses. It looks like they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 witnesses. All right, so it shows you here what they look like when they witness it. And then you can click on the reward scale, and you can see he's making 1.96 per 24 hours, 12 every 7 days, and 93 per month. So that's how, and you can see their RSSI values on some of these, so that tells you kind of the likelihood of what we were looking at earlier. So that's kind of how you check those out. You can click on any of these guys and check out any of them. I recommend, before you place one, you know, really, I think this is a free part of the program, so at least go on here and click on these and see what they're making and kind of give you an idea in your area. Look at this guy. He's getting them way out here, which means he's probably tall up on a building, because he's getting all these witnesses. So he should have a good reward scale. Look at that, he's making 147 a month. So he's not doing too bad for that area there, for that one helium miner. So guys, I'm approaching, just hit 30 minutes here on the video. I may have to cut some of it out, but I do appreciate y'all watching. I would like to go over more of these in the future, so if this is something that y'all like, that you're into, please let me know, and I'll be more than happy to go over some more info. If you want to DM me your location, well, not your location, if you want to DM me your town, I'm more than happy to take a look at it, and maybe I can do a video over it or send you a message back saying yay, nay, or whatever. So I'm love this program. I recommend anybody at least check it out. Whether you want to purchase it or not, it's up to you. I have purchased it. I loved it. It's been just completely useful on every turn, and they're constantly coming out with updates. I cannot speak highly enough about Helium Vision, and they integrate their system so well with any of the changes that happen in the Helium network. But guys, that's going to be it for me today. If y'all like the video, please hit it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. Let me know, does the mic sound good? Can you hear me okay? And what kind of video do y'all want to see next? Do you want me to go over price points? Do you want me to do some more deep dives on this Helium Vision so you can see what you're looking for? I can go out and show y'all hotspots. Like, let me know what you want to see so that way I can start creating the content you want to see. All right, guys. Well, until next time, I appreciate it, and good luck.